You want to know how a quiet life turns into an all-out war with an HOA? Let me tell you something. The day I saw my mugshot in a neighborhood app labeled armed and dangerous, I nearly spit my coffee all over the porch. Yeah, that happened. And trust me, I'm not the dangerous type unless you count creative accounting or owning a '79 Ford that only starts if you whisper to it first. Let me back up a sec. I used to be a federal auditor. 15 years, 3 agencies, too many late nights chasing the scent of missing money through government corridors where everyone wore their secrets like cologne. I'd had enough of power-tripping bosses, enough of fluorescent-lit team huddles, enough of always being the one people glared at when the books didn't add up. I promised myself 2 things when I quit: never wear a suit again unless someone died or got married, and never let another bureaucrat tell me how to live. So I did what burned out feds with insomnia and a little pension due. I bought a piece of peace. 11 acres in rural Virginia, thick with pines and old rumors, a 2-story colonial that had seen better centuries, a barn held up by stubbornness, and a porch that creaked like it was proud just to still be standing. The air tasted like nothing I ever got in D.C. Clean, honest, a little wild. My neighbors distant. Perfect. The real estate agent said twice, "Not under Maple Bridge Preserve HOA. Absolutely not." That parcel was carved out in a 2008 lawsuit, bulletproof. I almost hugged her right there. First week, I was living the dream. Coffee at Sunrise Deer, wandering past, fixing the fence for the hell of it. Not because I thought anyone was coming. But on day 8, the dream hiccuped. I got this envelope, thick, shiny, looked like a wedding invite, only the bride was a silver HOA logo staring up at me like an accusation. Inside, "Congratulations on joining Maple Bridge Preserve. Here's your monthly dues schedule. $1, $200 list of fines, mandatory meeting date." I laughed so hard a squirrel jumped out of the feeder, tossed it in the burn barrel. Clerical mistake, right? Nope. 2 days later, I'm tightening a fence post when I spot this guy, clipboard and camera, strutting up my driveway in a HOA polo, looking like he's about to condemn my truck for being too blue. He starts snapping photos, mumbling about non-regulation finishes. I walk over, gloves on, hammer in hand. "You lost." He doesn't blink, just says, "Documenting violations. Vehicles out of compliance. Board prefers muted pallets." I grin. I prefer trespassers not on my land. "See the fence? You're inside it. Now you're leaving." He walks off slow, like he expects me to chase after him and apologize. Spoiler, I didn't. Next morning, knock at my door. Enter Karen. And if you don't know a Karen, count your blessings. 60-ish pastel suit hair like spun sugar, smile sharp enough to slice cheese. "Good morning, Mr. Danton. I'm Karen Drow, president of the HOA. She hands me a stamped envelope, chirping about annexation. According to her, the board voted last quarter to annex bordering parcels, yours included. Very standard. Inside is a record of inclusion with an official-looking seal-blank line for owner consent, already marked as NA Board Authority invoked. "Karen," I say, as even as I can, "this land was excluded from your HOA in 2008. I have the deed. I have the ruling." She doesn't blink. Sometimes policies evolve faster than paperwork. I stare. She leaves, floating away like she's inspecting a rebellious province. I wasn't just annoyed anymore, I was insulted. I called the county records office, and 5 hours later, I had every scrap of proof I'd need. Turns out, not only had my property never been part of their HOA, but the previous owner had sued them for the same stunt 15 years ago and won. Their charter was amended in black and white to exclude my lot. This wasn't a misunderstanding, it was the opening salvo. So I get loud in my own way. I rebuild the fence this time with new posts, fresh paint, and zero ambiguity about where my land ends and their fantasy begins. By that afternoon, a white HOA SUV parks in my driveway. Community Integrity Patrol on the door, 3 people climbing out with binders and matching expressions of moral outrage. They try the same routine. Unapproved modifications. Board authority. I wave my paperwork. "This is not your jurisdiction. You're trespassing. Sheriff's on the way if you don't leave. They snap more photos muttering about violations. I call the county sheriff's non-emergency line and the deputy, bless him, sounds tired. Someone will come out. Third call like this today. But the HOA wasn't done. Karen shows up the next day, finds my contractors fixing the wire fence, and for the Oscar starts screaming that I'm an armed man threatening HOA officials. She calls 911, says I'm destroying community property. Cops arrive, guns holstered but hands near them. My guys freeze like rabbits. Karen's performing like she's on Law and Order, but the only weapon on my belt is a tape measure. The deputies check everything, my ID, my permit, my empty hands, my truck. When they're satisfied, they turn to Karen and say, "Ma'am, nothing here is under your authority. False emergency reports are a crime." Karen blinks, then storms off. The HOA patrol scurries to their SUV. I stand there alone, listening to the wind, thinking, so that's how it's going to be. That week, a process server hands me a lawsuit, $12,300 for unpaid dues aesthetic violations, and get this breach of community spirit. There's an exhibit attached, a color-coded map with my parcel now labeled Lot 171A, and a consent form supposedly signed by me. Only problem, it's a forgery. The signature looks like a 5-year-old with stage fright. I'm not new to legal showdowns. I hire Vanessa Chung, a real estate lawyer who lives for HOA takedowns. She's thrilled. Let's make them wish they'd gone into landscaping. I call the previous owner, Walter Gaines. He hates the HOA with a burning passion. He digs up his old lawsuit files for me. I get a forensic document examiner, the kind who can spot a fake from a satellite. She confirms total forgery, amateur work. We file a countersuit, defamation document, fraud, harassment, false emergency report, the works. Vanessa requests expedited discovery. If they want to play dirty, we'll bring bleach. The judge, straight shooter, no patience for nonsense, denies their request for an emergency order to halt my modifications. He says, this court will not enforce jurisdiction that doesn't exist. Vanessa smirks so hard I worry for her dental work. I'm feeling good. But then it gets weirder. Middle of the night, I see a light flicker near the barn. I walk out with a flashlight and spot a guy in a HOA windbreaker crouched with a GoPro. I call the sheriff. He's picked up for trespass claims. He's inspecting for vermin. Days later, a video pops up online, dark, grainy. My voice spliced, a fake gun click sound added, trying to paint me as a maniac. It's posted on a new HOA account. Is this who you want living next door? I'm not having it. My own security cams are crystal clear. No gun, no threats. Just me, flashlight, and a lot of questions. Vanessa files for defamation and digital takedown. She's got a playbook for this, and she's loving every minute. Then more Escalation teenagers sneak onto my land at night, trying to break into my tool shed. Cops catch them, and one spills. Karen told us it was a security check. Yeah, that happened. And then my email starts acting up. Important court notifications vanish. I call in a favor. A cyber forensics guy named Darren, an old Fed colleague who's as paranoid as he is brilliant. He traces the hack straight to the HOA's admin office in Alexandria. Vanessa goes ballistic. Files motions alerts the court, the state bar, the inspector general. Judge grants protective orders, all legal comms now in hard copy delivered by courier. The press catches wind. Legal blogs, HOA watchdogs, even a local reporter. Suddenly, I'm not just defending my land, I'm frontline in the war against rogue HOAs. The courthouse fills up on hearing day. Vanessa is lethal in the courtroom. She demolishes their evidence, plays both the HOA's doctored video and my original footage side by side. The forgery is obvious. The judge deadpan says, "You brought forged documents and fake videos into my court. You open this door, now we're walking through it." Court orders a seizure of HOA records. Turns out the HOA has a whole priority acquisitions folder with blueprints for annexing properties outside their jurisdiction, notes like soft pressure, and photos of me labeled "press harder." They even planned smear campaigns against residents who pushed back. And the fallout is biblical. Karen's arrested at dawn pearls and bathrobe ranting about community sovereignty. She's charged with everything short of treason, forgery, obstruction, harassment, cybercrimes, false reports. Her lawyer gets suspended. Board members scatter. Brian, the guy in my barn, turned state's witness. It's all over the news. HOA dissolved. Funds seized. Properties restored. My land is finally my land in every sense. 2 months later, I launch a nonprofit, HOA Watchdogs. We help other homeowners publish guides, archive abuses, hook people up with lawyers who actually care. The first win, a single mom in Arizona whose HOA tried to fine her for putting up solar panels. The second, a retiree in Oregon threatened over a mailbox. Justice isn't a pipe dream. You just have to drag it out into the daylight sometimes, kicking and screaming. And as for me, I put up a new sign at the top of my drive, private property, HOA free zone. Paper tyrants not welcome. The land is quiet. The only visitors are deer. And that's how I like it. They tried to take it all with paperwork, paranoia, and lies. They forgot the most important rule about power. Sooner or later you mess with the wrong person, and it all comes crashing down. So here's what I learned, not from a sermon, but from the scars you get fighting for what's yours. Justice isn't always about big moments or perfect endings. Sometimes it's about the long slog, the paper trail, the friends who show up with a laptop at midnight, and the truth that refuses to stay buried. People in power will always push, always test your boundaries. It's up to you how far you let them go. Let me ask you, where do you draw the line? If someone tried to annex your peace, your home, your name, would you fight? Or would you fold just to keep things quiet? Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Ever tangled with an HOA or a neighborhood authority? I want to hear your story. Justice, karma. The line between defending yourself and going too far. What's your take? Let's talk about it.